What's going on? Welcome to another session of Quarantine Conversations. I have the very own Coach John Eurey, my AAU coach, Houston Superstars, well known around the AAU circles in Houston, Texas, and around the nation. Has coached plenty of major, as he would say, major players. A lot of pros. He's had his hands on a lot of pros, and he has guided a lot of guys to different levels of basketball. But I'll let him tell the rest of it. But welcome, Coach Eurey. Welcome, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. How's the family? How y'all holding up in this quarantine?
We're doing good. We're holding up. We're staying away from people, and
yeah, you was froze for a second. No, it's all good. We get through it. So you say everybody's good, man. Y'all just trying to stay out the way, stay safe during this coronavirus pandemic.
Yep.
Well, that's good, man. Glad to hear. So look, man, a lot of people know of you. They've heard about you, but I don't think a lot of people know who you really are, where you come from, man. Kind of give people, the true background story of John Eurey, where you from, where you come from, and how you got to Houston, because you're not from Houston. So how did you end up in Houston and get started in the AAU? Let's talk about that.
Well, grew up in Los Angeles, California. Played baseball and basketball, varsity in high school. Born in Dallas, Texas. Migrated to California when my mom divorced my dad at 1 year old. Grew up in LA, and was good enough to get a baseball scholarship to Texas Southern University. And so I guess when I finished playing baseball, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I met a guy named Arthur Crawford. I was in a club one night because I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with young kids. I thought about doing a baseball program, but the problem with Houston, they didn't have any fields available to help, inner city black kids. And I definitely wasn't helping any white kids learn how to play baseball. So my boy, Arthur Crawford, he told me, he said, man, why don't you get in the AAU? We were in a club one night, partying one night. He said, once you get in the AAU, AAU is where it's at. I said, oh, really? I said, okay. I said, I'm going to come to your practice. So I started going to his practice. He introduced me to some guys, some kids that he was coaching, which were some big-time players at the time. Corey Henderson was one of those players. He went to A&M. And so it was very interesting. I really liked it because you got a hands-on approach and chance to help young African Americans and help them go to college. And I think that was my drive and mission behind it. And once I started rolling, it just started snowballing from there. And then when I really started investigating, I started in LA, and I wanted to start a program here. And the guy named Arthur Crawford, as a matter of fact, he lives in Dallas right now. He's the one that showed me the ropes in terms of how AAU worked. And when I got into AAU, there was only one guy that had all the kids in AAU. He had every black kid in Houston, and that was Jay Parker. And when I started doing AAU, started going to get kids, he was controlling all the black kids. And I was like, how is this one man, this one white guy, controlling every black kid in Houston? How is that? I said, I'm not going to let it happen. I'm not going to let it happen.
All right. So hold on. So how old are you at this time? You fresh out of college?
I was right out of college. I was like, I want to say I was around 20. I was around 20, around 27, somewhere there. I think I'm getting ready to go to grad school.
All right,
so
you a few
27.
so you're a few years removed from graduating college. Okay, you still I mean you're still a very young man, but you're a few years removed from graduating college. All right.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. So okay, so
Oh yeah. I'm still a few years graduating from college, and I thought that AAU was the way to go. And back then, no African American in Houston was involved in AAU. Only me. So I took advantage of the opportunity, and I ended up with Laura Branch, her son Joe. He's assistant general manager with the Minnesota Timberwolves right now.
yeah.
I went and got her, and I got her son. And then we went and got Adrian Taylor, the 7-footer, and Booker T. We ended up getting let me see, Anthony Doyle from Elsik, Nosa Basahan from Elsik. We got Charlie, he was a guard. We got Dante Randall from, he was City Player of the Year at Milby. We had Damon Jones, who's in the NBA right now. I think he's coaching the NBA with the Cleveland Cavaliers. We got him. He didn't want to come to us at first, but we had to beat him. Then he wanted to join us. We had to beat him with our second team. Then he wanted to join our squad. And we had a whole host of other players that were really, really good. And that year, and let me tell you a crazy thing, and what I sacrificed for all these AAU coaches out here. Michael Murphy, who was a writer with the Houston Chronicle at that time, was coaching for Jay Parker. Because they didn't want me in the game, he wrote a 10-page article about me in the Houston Chronicle. Because that year, and the reason why I know this very well, because I just talked to Sonny Vaccaro yesterday. I took all of those kids, with the exception of Damon Jones, because Damon Jones was acting crazy. That's why I didn't take him to ABCD, and he's still mad at me to this day because I didn't take him to ABCD because he was acting crazy. They were upset that I took all those kids to ABCD. And when I took all those kids, Joe Branch and all them kids to ABCD, he wrote a 10-page article. He's saying that all these kids are going to be ineligible because they could not receive product from a sports camp. And so when we came back, they wrote this article. The athletic director at HISD, a lot of different athletic directors in the city, called me in and told me they got to return that equipment, shoes, bags, everything, because they had never experienced anything. I think Greg Kite, years ago, went to a camp, but I was the first African-American to do that. And so he wrote that 10-page article on me. And then the UIL got involved in it, was going to declare all those kids ineligible. They returned everything, so they were not ineligible, and all of them kids went to college. So instead of people looking at, well, John Eurey sent all 12 of these kids to college for free, they focused in on, well, Sonny Vaccaro gave you product, at ABCD, and all those kids you almost got those kids in trouble. But you don't look at the bottom line is that I took care of every one of them kids, and every one of them kids turned out to be successful in life. So I did my job in terms of whatever I told their parents. I did my job, and I sacrificed in terms of getting a 10-page article written on me, and that's one thing. Consequently, a few years later, Dr. Charles Bryder, who's still over UIL, mind you, changed the rule and allowed kids to accept gear from product, in which Daniel Ewing and TJ Ford are a product of that, because when y'all went to ABCD, y'all got product and y'all could take it home. So Dr. Charles Bryder changed the rule to say that kids can get product based upon the experience I had. And the thing about it, I was basically somewhat like a guinea pig. And I'm gonna tell you another interesting fact about that too.
Charles Brydup called me on the phone and told me, he said, Eurey, the UIL is not after you. He said, it's basically Michael Murphy. He said, and Jay Parker. He said, Michael Murphy worked for Jay Parker. Those are the ones that are going after you because they don't want you to control all these black kids. That's exactly what was said. So, you know, I feel vindicated basically because now everybody in Texas can go to a camp except product and they don't get penalized for it. So I feel really good about that.
Okay. So you was a trailblazer in a lot of aspects. So what year are we talking about here with this first group of guys?
That was back, I think that was back in right after 87 when I founded the Superstar Foundation. Oh boy, what year was that? It was right after I founded the foundation, my 501c3. And because it was Joe Branch, he ended up going to Northwestern. Adrian Taylor went to University of Houston. Willie Bird went to University of Houston.
Willie Bird
went to University of Houston. Dante Randall went to Drake. Damon Jones went to University of Houston. I helped so many of them kids, but I can't think of the year. It was right after. I know it was after '87, but
okay.
it was a critical year.
All right, so it's the late '80s, early '90s, maybe, right?
Right.
How did you, a young guy from LA, just graduated from Texas Southern University, in grad school, 27 years? How did you get hooked up with Sonny Vaccaro? How did you get the kids to ABCD? How did you have that connection?
Okay, well, this is what happened. I ran into a kid named Grayson Averill. I know he trains kids over in China right now with Cyril White. Well, I got him out of Spring Woods, and when I trained him, I told him he was really, really good. And so what I did was I raised the money, and I sent him because he came right there along with Joe Branch because he was right along with too. I sent him to 5-star camp, and I sent Joe Branch to 5-star camp too. Grayson ends up getting MVP, or he was on the All-Star team at 5-star camp. The late, great Howard Garfinkel, as soon as Grayson gets back, Howard Garfinkel calls me on the phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your internet. You have to go somewhere where you're closer to your modem or something, to your router.
I'm near my router right now.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, but it's not the greatest connection. I hear you, but it's choppy.
Let me see if it in my wife's office. Hold on a second. Let me see if it's better over there. Hold on. So anyway, I ended up with Grayson Averill, and he got MVP at 5-star camp, and the late great Howard Garfinkel called me on the phone with that voice. John Eurey, Sonny Vaccaro is gonna call you in 5 minutes. So Sonny called me in 5 minutes saying, I just left Nike. Can you? He said, we love Grayson. I'm gonna put him in our All-Star game, the Round Ball Classic. And from there, I said I was gonna be with him for the rest of my career. And next thing I know, Sonny Vaccaro sent me boxes of shoes, boxes of sweatsuits, boxes of uniforms, boxes of everything. So that was the start right there. And then I just built it from there, and it turned out to be great.
So did you know when Howard Garfinkel told you that Sonny would be giving you a call, did you know who Sonny was at the time? You knew of
I didn't even know who Sonny was.
Okay. So this is new for me too, man. That's why I said I'm gonna give you a chance to share light on people just know you from the guy who's gonna say whatever's on his mind about his players, and they don't really know your story, man. They don't really know what your background, your history. So you've been with Sonny from the jump. Like you was
when Sonny left. When Sonny had a disagreement with Michael Jordan and the Nike people, he left.
Right.
Nike. When he left Nike, that's when he called me. When he was in between Nike and Adidas, he called me, and we formed that relationship ever since. And he was good. He was good for Houston because at that particular time, I know that when I got started with Sonny, Hal Pastner tried to get on with Adidas. And the Adidas people told Hal Pastner, you need to talk to John Eurey because John Eurey is our guy. And Hal Pastner didn't want to do business with John Eurey. So he told Nike that he had this great, tournament in Kingwood. And I guess Nike started sponsoring him. And the rest is history between, Hal and I.
Right. Okay, so after that first group of guys, you took them to ABCD. You're doing what you feel like you should be doing with the youth, and giving the younger generation of kids a chance to to reach their dreams possibly and further their education at a higher institution, which is college. What was next after that? Like,
I just started going out recruiting kids. I started a basketball league over at Sharpstown High School, whereas I used the basketball league as a recruiting tool, and I was doing free SAT tutorials over there. I had people over there doing free SAT tutorials, so we were between myself and Laura Branch. We were getting people, helping people with tutoring. We were helping kids go to school. We were helping kids with applications. We were helping kids across the board, get to college, because that was what it was all about. And I think at that point, we started getting so many kids. We started getting so many players. So when Sonny signed with Adidas, then obviously I moved over to Adidas, to the Adidas part. And the thing about it is it blossomed from there, because I got a chance to, because Sonny had something that nobody else had. He had ABCD camp. So every kid in the city wanted to go to ABCD because that was the #1 camp in the country. You were almost guaranteed. If you flourished at ABCD, you was guaranteed to go to college. That's just a no-brainer. So Sonny had that advantage over everybody in the country, and I was just on that team, the original team with Sonny, to get kids, to take kids to ABCD. And so, we raised as much money as we could to help kids, to take kids to camp. But I didn't just take kids to camp, because I took kids to tournaments too. And because I believed in Houston, Texas is a very unique city, probably the most unique city in the country to recruit, because you never can get a handle on the city because there's always good players. And a lot of good players get overlooked every single year because it's just so many players. So my job was to get those kids that were unknowns and put them out there. Case in point is Jimmy Butler. When a few years later, when I got Jimmy Butler, nobody liked Jimmy Butler. Nobody wanted to recruit him. So he's a gazillionaire NBA player, superstar. So, but that's Houston, Texas. Houston is like that. And so my goal was to make sure I turned this city into an international city when it came down to, basketball players. And I wanted the college coaches as well as the NBA to notice what kind of city we had.
So for a lot of people who don't know Coach Eurey, right? A lot of people who do know him, they kind of think of Eurey as just this guy who's hooting and hollering about his players all day, kind of talking out the side of his neck, but they don't understand and know that, you're really for your guys. When you believe in somebody and when you feel like you have a special player or a guy who, who could do something special or go to college, you're going to vouch for that guy to the end of the world. And
no question about that.
And they also, like I said, they also don't know, like, you're a well-educated man. You graduated college, and you're a big advocate.
Grad school too. Grad school.
So I'm
a certified teacher too.
And you're an educator. So you're a big advocate of academics and, and guys, pushing guys to go to college. Now, of course, in the AAU world, a lot of guys get their reps and get their praise by having guys who go to the pros. But like I said, for you, man, a lot of it for you is that you want to see your guys just get to school and have a chance to get a college degree. And a lot of people don't understand that side of you or see that side of you. But that's a big part of why you, for me, that's a big part of why you do what you do.
Yeah, I think that you know, and you were a perfect person. My first teaching job was Missouri City Middle School, and I got to tell this story because this is a very interesting story.
I was gonna get to it, but go ahead. So get to that. So
my first job was Missouri in teaching when I finished grad school was at Missouri City Middle.
So this is yeah, I was in the 8th grade. That was your 97, 96, 97 was your first year?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I'm in the 8th grade.
And so what I the first thing I asked my students, I said, who is the best basketball player in this school? And everybody in the same breath said Daniel Ewing. So when the bell rung, here I see this tall kid who was a quarterback at the time walking down the hallway. And what did I say to you? I said, "You gonna play for me." He said, "What'd you say?"
I thought you was out of your mind. I didn't know who I didn't know who you were and what you was talking about.
He said, "You need to talk to my dad." So then when I went to talk to your dad, I said, I'm going to dedicate 120% behind your son, and we're going to go all the way, and we're going to quit this football stuff. Let's go basketball full time. And I think when that happened, I didn't really have a team yet, but I was forming a team. And I ended up meeting Daryl Shelton, and Daryl Shelton had Alton Ford, and he had his son too. And then they was playing in the AAU tournament. I'll never forget this. And when I met him, he said, "Man, the best AAU team in Texas is TJ Ford and Carlos Hurt." They called him Los at the time. I said, "I don't care who they got. I got Daniel Ewing, and the rest of it, you don't have to worry about the rest of it. I got the baddest player, 8th grader in the city." So he telling me about Los and TJ is a magician and all this. So who do we end up playing in the championship? Los and TJ Ford. Who do we end up beating? Los and TJ Ford. Daniel Ewing, I think you had 23 that game. You was killing.
Hey,
and
I know.
The thing about it,
What's crazy? Not to cut you. TJ remember that game. I don't remember that game. Man. That's how TJ is like, bro. That's my first like fond memory of you. Like he was like, he said, he's like, bro, you was dogging us. I don't remember that game.
You was killing. And the thing about it is that I told Daryl Shelton because that was probably the best 8th grade AAU game I've ever seen ever. It was mostly a college game because it was nothing but 3 pros playing on the court together. And after we beat them, because I knew you and Carlos Hurt got into it because Carlos couldn't guard you because he didn't know you could shoot that thing too. Carlos could shoot it too, but you could shoot that thing too. And next thing you know, I got a call 2 days later. This is a true story. I think the same day, Leo Ford called me and said, "Can you come to my house for a family meeting?" I said, "About what?" I said, "We need to talk to you, my family." And he said, "We're moving to Missouri City, and we want TJ Ford to play with you." And I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll put him with Daniel Ewing." And the rest was history. And that's when I knew that with 2 9th graders, I'm going to put you guys in the best tournaments in the country. We ain't going to play that many tournaments, even though we played a few tournaments in Houston, but we didn't play that many. But I put you guys out there in the 9th grade. And you didn't go to ABCD that year. You went with Arthur Culver to AAU Nationals with Vince Young.
Yep.
Because you said
Price.
you didn't.
We had a squad. Ronnie Price wasn't known in high school, but I mean, Ronnie Price had a 10, 11-year NBA career.
That's correct. And the thing about it, you said you didn't feel as though you were ready for ABCD. So I went ahead and let you go with Arthur Culver. And TJ goes to ABCD. He turns ABCD on his head. Everybody, Chris Greer, all the coaches, Mike Krzyzewski, everybody saw him. He was killing. Next thing you know, Sonny Vaccaro said he one of the best players in the country. So he and Dick Vitale. So the rest was history. And then I knew I had you, Daniel. So, you know, the people don't realize is that all the tough games, all the times we played, we took on all comers. But at the end of the day, what was most important for me in your 9th grade year is that you passed your SAT in the 9th grade. See, a lot of people didn't realize that, but I knew that. And so, you know, you graduated cum laude from Woolridge, which was great. And I thought that, you know, you need to go to an academic school that could fit your academics. And I thought Duke was that school. And I thought that was the best decision.
I mean, I wouldn't change my decision. Only thing I would change about my recruiting process is taking all my visits, just so I can have something to compare and contrast. Other than that, I wouldn't change going to Duke, because that's where I wanted to go growing up my whole life. That was my dream school. So I had the chance. You know, they gave me the opportunity, the scholarship, and it was no looking back for me. Granted, like, you know, people can say, or, you know, even things could have been different or went different, but, you know, it went how it's supposed to go, and I'm where I'm supposed to be at in life. So, I mean, it was a blessing. You know, it was a blessing all the way around for me.
But think about it, Daniel. Mike Krzyzewski didn't call anybody else.
I mean, you're right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, people don't know the whole story. Like, you know, I was the top guy. So,
I mean, you got to factor in. You was one of the top 20 players in the country. So yeah. The thing about it is, with grades now. So the thing about it is that he didn't call nobody else in the state of Texas. He said, I wanted Daniel Ewing. You know, well, Wojo is one of the first ones that was recruiting you. But the thing about it is, I thought it was a great situation, even though I thought Roy Williams' assistant when they were at Kansas would try to pull a fast one, try to get you to go to Kansas. But, you know, I just wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. Not going behind my back.
Kansas, I really liked Kansas. Kansas was also a school I grew up watching. I mean, how could you not like Kansas either? Like, you know, they was Final Four material teams just about every year, producing pros and had really good players. So, like I said, the only thing I would do differently about my recruiting process is that I would have took more visits. I would at least took the 3 visits to the top schools that I narrowed it down to, just so I can.
One of the things, Daniel, that the coach at UConn told me, and he told me years later, the old coach who won national championship at UConn. He came up to me in Vegas and he told me, because I know he took, what was that kid he took? He was at ABCD. You know him, the kid. He played in the NBA.
My year?
Yeah.
Ben Gordon?
Ben Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
He came up to me and told me, he said, Eurey, he said, I'm gotta apologize to you. He said, I should have taken Daniel Ewing back then when you was telling me about him. Because back then, you know, people don't realize, Daniel, this is what people don't realize, how many college coaches and head coaches you guys were playing in front of. You're talking about almost 250 head coaches was at our games. Nobody's done that outside of, say, Atlanta Celtics guys, EBO, Pump, and Mac Irvin, DC Assault, and maybe a few others here and there, but nobody's played in front of that many head coaches like we have. I know, I put it like this. Outside, I think Mitch Malone, when he had that team with Chris Bosh, he had a lot of head coaches at his school. But for you guys, I mean, because on those teams that we had, man, we were loaded. Every kid on our squad almost went D1. So it was a great time. It was a great time.
So did you had you ever before you had you ever seen me play in middle school, or you just
Nope.
asked a question?
Nope, I just asked the question, and I took a chance.
That's crazy.
And see, Daniel, I asked the kids in my classroom, and they all said that Daniel Ewing. So when I came down to the gym, I know Coach Martin, right, was one of the coaches.
Great coach, man. By the way, RIP, Coach Eric Martin, man, one of my best coaches I've ever had, man.
He, you know, I was new over there, and I'm like, you know, I said, I'm just kind of watching y'all practice. And I said, man, Daniel's really good. And he was like, no, you're going to be a football player. No, you're going to be a quarterback. I said, he ain't going to be no quarterback, not here, you know. And I think that, you know, when I just took that chance, I knew that if you dedicate yourself to it full time, I knew you'd be a great player. And because you already knew how to play. And I think that coming from your brothers, because your brothers could play. But I knew that we dedicated to it full time. And I thought, you know, Willow Ridge was the right spot at the right time, especially when TJ was there. And TJ came along, and you guys were basically rock stars in the 9th grade.
All right.
It was a great experience.
So did you have something to do with that? Because as you know, I wasn't initially going to Willow Ridge, right? So I was going to private school. You know that. I was supposed to go to Kincaid, which was private school.
Right.
That didn't work out. But knowing the story that you just told me now, you knew that TJ was moving to Missouri City.
Yes, right? I did.
And you knew
because
I was
when
originally zoned to Willow Ridge.
Yeah.
Did you talk to my daddy?
TJ, I talked to your dad. And your dad said, I said no, because he told me about private school. I said, no, you don't want to go to no private school. Public school is where it's at. You know, I said, you want to go somewhere where your son will get competition. And at that particular time, I knew that Ronnie Courtney was the coach. I didn't always get along with Ronnie Courtney back then. I didn't always get along with him because Ronnie Courtney didn't like AAU guys. But the thing about it is he had to adapt and like AAU guys because Daniel and TJ were my guys. So, you know, it was amazing. A lot of people don't know this, Daniel. Willow Ridge was the only high school in the country that were wearing 2 different brands of sneakers every other game. You remember that? Nike, Adidas, Nike, Adidas.
Of course I remember. Yeah, that was crazy.
Because I had a meeting with the late, great Charles Polk. God bless his soul. Charles Polk said, Eurey, I said, Mr. Polk, I'm not going to bother Ronnie Courtney when my dudes are at Willow Ridge, because I was working at Willow Ridge at the time. I said, I'm not going to bother Ronnie Courtney. But I said, outside of high school basketball, he ain't going to bother me either. So when it come down to AAU, that's my domain. And Charles Polk was like, we're not going to bother you when it come to AAU season. And I said, okay, we're good. Because, see, at that time, the area superintendent was Arthur Cover. So Arthur Cover was one of my coaches. So he's the one that told Charles Polk to hire me at Woolridge because I was Ecomet Burley, the old principal at Missouri City, who was terrible, you know, told me to resign because I wasn't a good teacher, but I had just got there and none of them teachers outside of one teacher would help me learn how to teach because, you know, you got to learn how to teach. You got to have a mentor teacher. And I had a mentor teacher, but the thing about it is that they were not helping a young guy, you know, trying to get into the teaching profession. I had to kind of learn it on my own. But anyway, it all worked out, and I went to Willow Ridge, and Mr. Polk was absolutely great. But I think that at that time, it started probably the greatest backcourt in the history of Texas basketball, because I was the first person in the country to have 2 McDonald's All-Americans from the same high school team. Nobody's ever done that. And, you know, because, you know, you guys were killing everywhere. I mean, you got to think about this, Daniel. We played almost something like 70-some games per summer. From we play about 70-some games. We went everywhere. Bob Gibbons. We went ABCD. We went to Pump and Run. We went to Vegas. We took on all comers. And my job was to make sure that Daniel and TJ could learn how to play against every single player out there. We drove all the way to Chicago.
Yeah, we sure did drive all the way to Chicago, Eurey.
and we got off the bus. We got out of the vans, me, you, Marcus Sloan, and all the rest of y'all, and that crazy Curtis.
Oh, man. Shout out my boy Kurt.
Crazy Curtis. We got off, and Mac Irvin gave us the toughest high school in the city, Whitney Young. I'll never forget it. And we ended up beating them with 2 minutes left. And Mac Irvin's son came up to me. He was an agent right now, Byron Irvin. He said, Eurey, you got 2 pros. I said, really? He said, Eurey, them dudes are special. I said, yeah, I think they're pretty good. So I just felt that you guys going across the country, really helped in terms of learning how to play. I thought when we played against Mac Irvin in Vegas in front of all them coaches, when Amari Sawyer told TJ he was too close, he was killing TJ too.
Yeah, we was young boys, and that was we were sophomore. That was after our sophomore year, so we were still young. And like I said, Marius Sawyer and them, like Marius Sawyer, Steve Hunter, like their team was loaded, man. I'm talking about they had 2 Leon King. They had 2 7-footers on their team that was pros. So we were young boys, like you said, man. We took we took on all comers, and we was young, and we took our lumps early on. But that helped us become the players that we became in high school.
And Daniel, that was the whole key. The whole key was if I wanted you guys to play at the highest level, you had to go play against competition and guys that would probably be future pros. And that was my whole idea behind it, is to put you guys in the toughest situation possible, and win, lose, or draw, you're gonna win, because at the end of the day, when you become a senior, you're gonna be a dude. And at the end of the day, you guys went 78-1 in 2 years, won 2 state championships, and you really should have won 3. But Ivan McFarland, lived out of district, and you forfeited 33 games.
All right, let's clear that up though, because that's not the truth. Ivan did not live out of district. Ivan lived in the same neighborhood Curtis lived in.
But he was living over there with Elaine Jones at First Colony.
What happened was Ivan initially went to Boys and Girls Preparatory his first 2 years in high school. And so the whole AAU situation with you and Missy Lane and us having Nikes and Adidas, when all that got together, and then we become this big time team, then everybody started trying to nitpick at what could be wrong with that situation. And so that's all it was, is that Ivan initially went to another school his first 2 years in high school. So when he come to Rural Ridge, the red flag go up like, oh, we cheating, but we wasn't cheating. Ivan just decided he wanted to go to public school, which Rural Ridge was the school he was zoned to. So
right,
that's what that was.
Well, the thing about it too, I thought, at the time, and I'm because Elaine Jones had just gotten a Nike contract. She wanted Ivan this, Ivan that. And Ivan was a really good player. He was a really, really good player. I just didn't think that he was better than TJ Ford and Daniel Ewing. So I mean, he was a good player, but I just didn't think he was better. So I really hate what happened to her, what Nike did to her behind the coach at Indiana, Bobby Knight. That was a really ugly situation that turned out bad for her. But hey, that Willow Ridge Juggernaut was 78-1, and you won 2 state championships back to back. That was a big deal. You were Gatorade Player of the Year. TJ Ford was one of the top players, all state. You guys were ranked. TJ ranked number 2 in the country. You was ranked top 20 in the country. So we accomplished a lot. It was a big deal. It was rock star status. And the thing about it is, I liked every part of it because I knew we were on top of the world. But I just think that I would have done a few things different at that time. But it was a great experience. It was a great experience. So nobody in the city has ever done that. Nobody in the city has ever, because remember, Daniel, I did the whole thing. I washed the uniforms, raised the money, or whatever money, drove the vans, bed check, making sure you guys eat right, because remember this, Daniel.
Hold on, Eurey.
Y'all last year playing AAU.
Hold on, Eurey. Making sure we eat right wasn't giving us that call juniors when we went to LA that time.
Oh, well, I was mad at y'all at that time.
That mess was terrible. You pumped that place up like it was the best burger. That mess was so terrible. You should have took us the In-N-Out burger or the other one in LA. In-N-Out or Fat Burger or something. That Carl Jr. was horrible.
Big deal in LA.
Yeah, it was horrible. But the thing about it, in California, it's a big deal. So I'm from California. Let me get my charger. So, but think about it. You guys were the only AU team that stayed in the Bellagio. You think about that.
Yeah, I mean,
you stayed in the Bellagio hotel.
About time, because we had been staying in the Flamingo Hilton.
Yeah, we did. We stayed in the Flamingo Hilton. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean, we deserve, after 2 or 3 years of AU, we deserve, to be treated well after what we was doing.
I had to go where my money went, because you remember we went to LA too now.
Right.
Because what we do when we left Vegas, we go to LA, right?
Yeah.
So you guys not only were in Vegas, but I took you guys to LA too. And we wasn't driving to LA, we were flying LA.
Right.
Hello?
Right. Yeah.
I can't see the video.
Your video out.
Hold on a second. Special. And all those kids that played with you on that team, all of them went D1. So I'm very happy about that. And, I'm happy about all the times that we spent. We had good times, and I think that it was all worth it, because just about all those players, I know Kenny Taylor came late. John Lucas Jr. came late, but Corey Valson and Marcus Sloan and, all them guys all have great careers. Richard Law was on the bench at 1 year. Marshall was on the bench that year. He turned out, he went to University of Missouri. Richard Law ended up going to University of South Alabama. Everybody that was on those teams all went D1. So it was great.
What's your what would you say out of all, maybe not just when me and TJ played, but what is your we'll just talk about that. What is your fondest memory of our AU days with the team me and TJ was?
We had George Williams.
Yeah.
We played Cleveland, and you were killing. TJ was killing, and at the end of the game, I think it was either tied or we were down 1 point or something like that.
Is this in Vegas?
And you threw in Vegas.
I threw the lob.
You threw that lob, and George Williams came through the lane and dunked it, and that was one of my best moments. That was the moment. And when I was yelling, "Don't mess with Texas," remember that? I told everybody, "Don't mess with Texas." And then remember, Daniel, I remember this so clearly. We went to Bob Gibbons and lost to New Orleans Jazz when they had all them good players. Remember?
Now we ain't just lose. We just didn't lose though. They drug us through the mud, bro.
They drug us through the mud. But you gotta remember, Dan, y'all were all young guys too.
You're right. We were signed for. You're right. But they had an NBA team though. They had an NBA roster.
They had an NBA roster. Now, when we got to Vegas and beat Cleveland, I saw that. He was walking in the door. I cussed him out then. I told him, "You better hope you don't play them Houston Superstars, because you're going to get your ass tore up in this weekend, partner. You better hope you don't play us, because we were ready now." Because we were ready. We wasn't ready, but we were ready then. He didn't want to play us. Thad didn't want to play us. Not then. I don't care how many pros he got. He would have lost. But we ended up playing Mac Irvin. And so, hold on a second. Daniel, so we were ready, we ended up playing. You know, obviously Mac Irvin. We lost to them in front of everybody, so that was a big time game. But remember, it was all about getting y'all ready to play at the next level, and I think I did that.
Now you definitely. I mean, you definitely.
Hello?
Yeah, you definitely gave us the opportunities to play in front of all the college coaches and be at the biggest tournaments and play against some of the better players, especially when we was young. That first our sophomore year, to go up against those older guys. I remember. I don't know. You remember when we went to that same summer when we went to California after Vegas that summer, and we played EBO. Do you remember this?
I
I'm
think I
gonna
do.
refresh your memory. We playing EBO. It might have been like the second game. They got Deshaun Stevenson, Brett Nelson, Mike Dunleavy Jr., Carlos Boozer, right?
Right.
We sophomores, so you know I'm maybe 6'1" or 6'1.5", but I'm little. Like I'm not, you know, I've never been a big guy, but I'm probably 160 pounds or whatever. Deshaun Stevenson was probably 6'5", 215 in high school, man.
Killing.
Killing, man, child. And I'm like, not that I was scared, but you had told me, not that I was scared, but I knew like this guy was the best player in his class. Like he was the best player in high school basketball of the year. So I'm like, Eurey, what you want me to do with this guy? I'm not, I'm not gonna be able to like keep him out the paint. Like he's too strong, he's too athletic. He was like, yo, D, just back up. He's not a good shooter. Eurey, do you remember what happened from the tip?
Oh man, he shot lights out.
Yo,
he shot
the ball from like 30 feet and then went in. I looked at you like, man, what you want me to do with this dude, man?
Yeah, he was tough. He was tough. I mean, you know, they had a really, really good team, but we were very young. But it was good for y'all to play against Boozer and all them dudes and Brett Nelson and, you know, and Dunleavy Jr. It was good because remember, you ended up playing with Dunleavy and Boozer at Duke. You know what I'm saying? And I never forget. You know, I gotta tell the Williams at Duke. I gotta tell the story. You remember we went on our official visit to Duke?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how Duke was recording all the practice games and Jay Williams was dominating the court and all that?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting over there with Boozer. Y'all had just lost, and I think Jay Williams talking crazy and all that. And so you came over there and sat by me, and I told Boozer, I said, Boozer, Daniel the real deal. And he said, yeah, when he gonna get going? So when you came over there, you looked at me and you said, what's wrong? I said, you just got your ass tore up. He said, against that dude? He said, man, that nigga punk. He said, wait, next game. What happened? You beat him 5 games in a row. You know what? Jay Williams still remember that when I saw him at the Final Four. He still remembers that when you tore him up and threw the ball. And Johnny, I remember this. Johnny Dawkins, I'll never forget this. Johnny Dawkins went and told Coach K, oh, Eurey and his guy, you know, because they didn't like people beating on Jay Williams like that in practice. You remember that now. Remember that. That was a great time for me.
No, I mean, Jay Will was the real deal, though, man. Like, he's one of the better players I've ever played with on any level, man. Like, Jay Will was a monster, bro.
Oh, he was a good player. He was playing for that team. He was playing for that team, New Jersey. I wanted to play them. We saw him, I think, at Bob Gibbons, and we didn't get a chance to play them. I mean, he was killing. I think he had 35 one game, or 35, 40 one game. I wanted to play him because he only had Jay Will on that team. I mean, the rest of them dudes were manageable, but he was really, really good in high school. Yeah, really, really talented.
Nah, knowing what I do now, and like I said, we was young, so he's 2 years older than our class.
Right.
That would have been a tough. That would have been a tough matchup for TJ.
It would have been. It would have been, but I think TJ evolved though. I mean, TJ evolved. I mean, because TJ had to play. Man, do you realize how many great point guards we played against? We played against DC Assault. We played against the USA team at Bob Gibbons. We played against Atlanta Celtics. We played against New Orleans Jazz. We played against Mac Irvin Fire. We played against that Milwaukee team that was outstanding. They had those two guards. I think one of them ended up going to Milwaukee, and they were big time back then.
They had Reese Gaines. They had Reese Gaines.
They had Reese Gaines.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember.
They had Reese Gaines. Yeah, they had Reese Gaines. We lost to them. And we had y'all played against every really good guard in the country. And TJ evolved because TJ was light back then. But the thing about it, people started using that body on him and that type of thing. So TJ evolved, but TJ learned quickly. And next thing you know, we were killing. It was nobody stopping that Houston superstar train, baby. Because once y'all figured it out, it was no beating us. Nowhere. I mean, I told TJ a few weeks ago, Carlos Hurt beat us at the buzzer in the championship up there at Kingwood. He beat us at the buzzer. But the thing about it is, it wasn't nobody else beating them Houston superstars back then. We might have lost some big games. We lost to St. Louis, but all the big games, I think that we got up for mostly the big games, but, we'll lose to St. Louis. We lost to we always end up running the Mac Irvin Fire. We'd always lose to the really good teams. But that was a testament how good we were too.
So man, just to kind of fast forward to that was 2002, the early 2000, 99, 2000, yeah. So it's 2020, man. You're back in AAU because you had a small period of time where you was out of AAU. You moved away from Houston. You're back in AAU, man. You're getting your groove back. You're back to having the type of players that you're used to having. So let's talk about what's going on now. Like this AAU.
We're loaded right now. We got
season. You was looking forward to it, but
we got Josh Farmer. He's 6'9", wing. He's really good. Really good grades, very bouncy, got a chance to be a pro. We got the all fabulous PJ Haggerty. And I got to say thank you to the Fords because they did a lot of raising. They raised him, from early age, but now he's with us. They did a really good job, training the kid, getting the kid ready. Now he's ready for the next level. The kid had 997 points in 1 year. He hit 81 threes. He was MVP at 22-5A. He got 7 offers right now. And he's on his way to get probably about 10 more offers because he's a real deal. They got him ranked the number 2 guard in Houston right now in the top 2022 class. So he's special. He should have a legitimate chance to play in the NBA if I have anything to do with it. We have a 6'7" point guard that's really good. Luke Burton at Lamar, special. He'll dunk on you. He can shoot 3. He's really good, 6'7" point guard. We have Chris Marshall too, who's also fabulous, and he's in the sophomore class. He's fabulous too. We have Leslie Newsom from Spring High School, and then I got my 7-foot kid up in Amarillo. He's really good too. He's got a chance. I mean, anytime you're a 7-foot kid, you got a chance. And he's gonna be a really special player too. And he's gonna be good. He's gonna be really, really good. And so we got a chance to be special. We're back at that level where and the kid is Ethan Wisnett. That's his name, Ethan Wisnett. He's 7 foot tall. But we got a chance to be special. We got a chance to go out and play against the best players in the country. And the thing about it is that we're ready now. We're ready. We're ready.
Okay. So you got a good team, but all right, so the coronavirus pandemic has put a halt to everything so far.
Yeah, my guys are still working individually on their own. It's really putting a dent into AAU and that type of thing. We don't know what's going to go on within this month. I know there's a big tournament coming at the end of the month. I don't know if the governor is going to let people play in tournaments, at the end of this month. And then I'm not going to sacrifice my players nor myself to get corona, being silly and stupid and immature about how this virus is. You need a vaccine. And the thing about it, I'm just not going to put my family and put myself in jeopardy. And I'm definitely not going to put my players in jeopardy of getting, sick. So we're just in a wait and see mode. But I know I'm very excited about when we can go out. I know we're going to be really, really good. And nobody's talking about kids like Leslie Newsome in spring. I mean, little dynamo point guard that can shoot that 3 ball too, boy. But we're going to be very, very special. I mean, we're going to be probably one of the best teams in the country. No doubt in my mind. We're going to be one of the best teams in the country.
But how does that affect, if you guys are not able to have this summer, if the AAU season is not able to go on or not able to start at any point, like how does that affect some of your guys, or just in general? How does that?
I mean, obviously it's going to affect my guys. I mean, I'm probably going to have to take them out next year. Now for PJ and Josh, and those kids already got scholarship offers, many of them. So I'm not worried about PJ and Josh because they're gonna have all the offers they can get because they're special players. For guys like Luke Burden, a 6'7" point guard, and Ethan Wisdom, my 7-footer, it would obviously hurt them because really nobody knows them at this point. And I think the beauty of them playing with John Eurey is that I know coaches all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast that I've, over this 25 years of me doing this, they believe in me. And when I call them about a player, they're going to at least believe it, and they're going to want to talk to those kids, So hopefully we can get out for their sake. And kids like Leslie Newsome, who's really fabulous. But Leslie Newsome and PJ, they're young guys. They're 2022, as well as Chris Marshall. So, so they got another year to kind of flush out all this COVID-19 and still get a chance to play at a high level. But if I have to, in terms of Ethan Wisdom and Luke Burden, if they don't have scholarships, they'll go out with me next year and play as seniors and still show people that they can play, and they will get scholarships because they have grades. So I'm not worried about that.
So,
hello?
Yeah, we was talking the other day about the whole NCAA approving of allowing the college athlete to be able to profit off their name, likeness, or image. You've been around for a long time. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that I was on that team with. Yeah, I was on that team with, the crazy part about that, and I was talking to Sonny Vaccaro about this the other morning. I was in those meetings with Sonny Vaccaro, the team, Sonny's team, me, Gary, Charles, Chris Greer, Mac Irvin, Wallace Prather. It was so many of us. Mott's there, Matsubura, Pump and Run, the Pump Brothers. I was thugs. I was there. And Mitch Malone too. I was there when they were, saying, and they was like kids when we knew what kind of players we had. We knew the kind of big time players we had. And so now that the NCAA is looking to change that rule, they did a big article on USA Today with Sonny, and I talked to Sonny right after that article came out. And basically, instead of, Houston kids, going around saying they don't have nothing to eat and all that kind of stuff and trying to get to tournaments, well, they can probably, when they go to college, they'll be able to have a few extra bucks. They ain't gonna have a whole lot of bucks, but they're gonna have a few extra bucks. And it's not gonna be for every kid. It's gonna be for kids that have a marketing image. But if you're a real player, obviously, like I say, LeBron James, then the thing about it is, obviously, people that's going to be in the marketing business are going to want to be affiliated with you. So the big key to it is, how is the government going to tax athletes. Are they going to count it as a capital gain? Are they going to tax it? That is one of the biggest sticking points right now. How do you compensate this athlete over another? How do you compensate a male over a female? How do you compensate basketball over, say, field hockey? So they have to work out all those logistics but if you look at most big schools, basketball and football supplement all of the other sports. So it's going to be a delicate balancing act, but I'm glad that they've gotten to the point where they're going to probably change the rule, because now that the G League has came in this year, Jalen Green and Deshaun Nix, they offered both of those guys G League contracts where they can go into the G League, get training, I guess, by the NBA personnel, and then go into the draft the next year. Well, the NCAA doesn't like that, because that's two big-time players that could be at big-time schools and could go into the NCAA tournament where they make $1 billion off of CBS. So the thing about it, college basketball is not going to let the NBA kill their golden goose. They want to keep them kids in college playing for them schools to make money for those schools and increase those television contracts. So I think that them having that conversation to figure out the compensation is a great step in the right direction. And I'm glad that I was a part of it. I was a part of that with Sonny and all the rest of those guys and Lux that were trying to make money on kids. And I'm glad that we won. We won that battle.
Well, I mean, it's a great step forward. It's been a long time coming. I think it's a great on both sides. The NCAA finally approving something like this for athletes to to be able to profit off their name, their own name, likeness, and image. And the new NBA G League pathway, I think it's phenomenal, man. Giving these kids an option because, I mean, we know we're in a different era now where a lot of kids understand, especially when we talk about talent, a lot of kids understand what they're worth. And, they feel like, why can't I be able to profit off of the hard work and the talent that I have right away? A lot of kids don't want to go to college, and the college is not for everybody. So I think it's a great way to get the kids who don't want to go to college and don't want to experience the college atmosphere. They have the opportunity to go get developed and get mentored in the G League for a season under NBA personnel and learn the way financial literacy, still be able to take college courses and et cetera, and make some good money as an 18-year-old.
I think it's good too. I mean, because I think that piece that they were going to pay for their college college courses is a great thing, because that means they still get a chance to get an education. But you and I know, Daniel, that every kid can't go to G League. Every kid is not good enough. You got to be really good to say that I can go into the G League and then go into the draft. You got to be like top 5, top 10 in the country.
But that's why. But that's why it's good the way they're doing it. It's not up to the kid. You have to be selected. So that's even better, because what I'm saying, you have to be selected. So they're only selecting, like you said, a handful of kids that they want to try this with. So then it's not just open for any kid to think they're good enough to say, hey, all right, when I graduate high school, I want to go try to. They have to select you to offer you the deal, and then it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not.
Right. And I think that, talking to Gary Charles the other day, he said that, that the commissioner of the NBA basically only wanted 5 kids a year or something like that. He was telling me 5 kids a year. And he said it has to work, because if you're going to give kids that kind of money, I mean, I know that they gave the kid, $500,000. I think they gave Deshaun Nix, I think $400,000. That's a lot of money for a kid. And then he's probably going to get access to some endorsements too. So it has to work. I mean, they have to be able to really show. And I think at that level, if they're good enough to go to that level and they've been selected by the G League, they're pretty good. If they're top 1, 2 in the country, I know Greg Brown, who just committed to Texas, I know he got offered too. But I'm glad that he went to Texas, because Texas obviously is a better opportunity in terms of marketing for him, especially for a kid that's a big kid, that's a high flyer, that could probably be a big guard in the NBA. Is great for him. Nothing is bigger than college basketball. I don't care what it is. No G League, nothing is bigger than college basketball. And so, because you got to think about it, you play in the Big 12, you play on TV every single game.
What I mean,
you
play
right
against about
Kansas twice a year. You play against hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, you're right about the platform of college basketball compared to a G League platform, but it only benefits you if you're a big-time player, right? So, I mean, Zion Williamson is not Zion if he don't go have the type of season he had at Duke, regardless of you on
That's
TV
correct.
or not. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of him being on TV every night or not. Like, if he don't perform that way, then the platform doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true.
And I mean, and for some situations, I know like the kid Anthony Kidd is at Carolina. He got hurt all year. I don't think he had a great year because he was hurt. I think, I know he's put his name in the draft. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's ready. They may think he's ready, but the NBA is different. I never forget, Daniel. I'll never forget this. When you played for the Clippers, I'll never forget this. When you wanted me to come to LA, I said, well, you want me to come to LA? But nah, Eurey, I want you to come here and see me sitting on the bench the whole game. He said, that was the first time in your career you've ever sat on the bench. And I didn't like it, but obviously with a dumb coach like Mike Dunleavy, who didn't know a thing about basketball as far as I'm concerned, he didn't know what he was doing. So, I was proven right. He didn't know what he was doing there. He didn't know what he was doing when he was at Tulane. He didn't know what he was doing, period. So I was right.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA is it's a different monster, man, especially when you're not, like, for me, it was a gift and a curse. I was gifted and blessed to get drafted, and live out a dream. But it was a curse in the sense that the organization I was drafted to, it wasn't an organization that fitted my needs at the time. Like, I needed to be molded and mentored in a way that was going to help me develop to become a combo or, this point guard, which I wasn't getting none of that, with the Clippers. And so, I mean, it was easy to say, oh, Daniel Ewing's not a point guard. That was easy to say because I wasn't a point guard. I had never played point guard in my life at no level. Like, yeah, I played in my senior year in college, but I wouldn't really consider that me playing a point guard. That was me sacrificing for my team to help my team in the best way we could to be the best we could be that year. That wasn't no genius observation that I wasn't a point guard when I was in the NBA. Like, of course I wasn't. I had never played the point guard position in my life. And then you asking me to become something that I'm not at the highest level, like, that was difficult for a kid who already wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I can say I've been playing and, like, I was getting consistent minutes and playing some significant minutes. And you saying, look, man, you're doing good or this, but I think we need to make this switch over. It would have been a little bit different because my confidence would have been different. You know what I'm saying? The experience I had on the court, but I wasn't playing a lot, and then I get thrown in the fire because of some injuries, and I'm playing a point guard in the NBA. Man, everybody knows when a guy ain't ready for a certain situation in the NBA.
Oh, ain't no question. They look for that.
And I wasn't ready to be not to play the point guard. Now, if you had me at the 2, no problem. It's natural. You know what I'm saying? I had to go against anybody, but at the point guard position, man, yeah, I was shaky out
there. Yeah. And I tried to get you to play point though, Daniel, back then, but you didn't want to do that. You like putting them points on the board. You love the fact that TJ was handling that thing and breaking people down. You love that. Because you like putting them points on the board.
But you know what? You know what, Eurey? Before I got to high school, I was the person who handled the ball for my teams. I didn't consider myself a point guard, but I was the person who had the responsibility of organizing the team and handling the ball. But when I got to high school, I had somebody to do that. So, I mean, for me, it wasn't if I was a kid who felt like I needed to be that, then it would have been a problem. Me and TJ wouldn't have worked. but I didn't feel like I needed the ball in my hands like that because I knew I could score without the ball. And, I knew TJ, he was unselfish enough, to get off the ball. He was a great passer. So it was never like, and back then it wasn't, guys didn't have to be, point, like it was guys at that era who was two guards playing off the ball. Like I'm going to use Allen Iverson though. Allen Iverson's under 6 foot. You have guys like Bobby Jackson, Jason Terry. It was like plenty of guys 6'3", 6'2" that had hell of careers being being a two guard or off guard or combo guard. Like, so, it was no need for me to be like I needed to be a point guard coming up in high school, in college.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, sometime, and I told this to PJ Haggerty the other day, because, they won their district last year, and the high school coach won coach of the year. They won the district. He got happy, seeing PJ Haggerty score all in points every game. But, for PJ's career, I think PJ need to play point, and he will play point for us. And the thing about it is that he has to prepare for the next level. And I'm going to make sure he prepares for the next level. And the thing about it is that I got happy with you scoring too. You got to remember when we were down at the state championship, you came down, hit that 30-footer. I think you tied it, I believe. I was in tears up there in the stands. Because I thought the Willow Ridge train is over. The Willow Ridge train is over. And Daniel came down, hit a 30-footer, money. I said, I was up in the stands. This is a new ball game now. No, they ain't gonna beat us now. But see, that was because we played all those tough games. We from the East Coast to ABCD to the West Coast. We took on all comers, and it prepared you for that moment at the state championship game. Because shooting a shot like that wasn't no surprise to me, because you was doing that all the time with us, all the time.
Right.
So I, it was a great experience, and that was a great experience for me too. The state championship when y'all won state back to back, and went 78-1. That was, I tell you, slam dunk to the beach was some good moments too.
Man, who got that footage, man? I gotta find that. I don't have none of that footage. I gotta find
Bobby Jacobs. I don't think Bobby Jacobs is living. I don't know who has that footage, but I need to call somebody who knows Bobby Jacobs or knows his family, because Bobby, those games, some of those games was televised. When we beat Roman Catholic one year, we beat St. Anthony's, we beat what's the big kid play for the Rockets? We beat Dominguez High School, beat them in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And so that puts y'all on another level too, because y'all won that tournament 2 years in a row. That was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the bigger national tournaments back then at the time. Yeah, it was a really big deal, considering especially the first year we went to it, we wasn't ranked at all, and people didn't know who we were.
That's correct.
And they thought they was doing us in by putting us up against that team that was ranked 5th in the country at the time, but we handled them.
Oh, y'all handled them.
Yeah, so.
You remember Carmelo Anthony was at that tournament too. Carmelo was there with his high school. I mean, that tournament was loaded. It was loaded. He had dudes up in there. And he thought, well, these little Willow Ridge dudes gonna get their butts kicked. We kicked butt and took names. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I knew what I was doing when I got y'all in that tournament. I knew, because Bobby Jacobs approached me at ABCD. He said, Eurey, I got the best tournament on the East Coast. It would be great for TJ and Daniel. And I said, we're gonna be there. Then I had to convince Ronnie Courtney to go. So it was a no-brainer, because he flew us in with all the tickets and all that. So it was good. So it was great experience. Great experience.
Well, man, Eurey, man, I appreciate you taking time out, man, to kind of just share a little backstory on you, man, because a lot of people enjoy you and some people don't, man. But I think the people that don't enjoy you don't really know you and don't really know what your intentions. A lot of people think you got the wrong intentions, man, but you've never had the wrong intentions. You might go about it the wrong way, but you've never had the wrong intentions, man. So I tell people all the time, like, John Eurey's my guy for life. You was the first and only guy, like, really shouting Daniel Ewing out before people really, you know what I'm saying? Before people really gave me the opportunity to be like, okay, this kid can really play. You was saying that way before people was like, yeah, he can play. So I always appreciate you, man, for what you've done for me and how you helped me.
I appreciate it too, man. But so many stories. We didn't get the story about Tubby Smith. We didn't get that when he was at Kentucky. We didn't get that story in, but we'll get that. We'll get that story in another time.
Yeah, we'll say that one for another time, man. But I appreciate you taking the time, man. Tell the family I say hello. Take care of them.
I will. All right.
All right.
Later.